Okay, everybody, so you should now have gone ahead and cut out all of your pieces and practice coloring in your truck. Now, one thing I did forget was I forgot to tell you what size my truck ended up being. The width was 2.414 and the height was 1.628. But you can go ahead and make it whatever size that you want to fit on your card. So now, as far as the card itself, my card measures 11 by 4 1/4, and I've taken and scored it in half to make it a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. Now, I did also go ahead and ink my edges using the Tim Holtz Distress ink. I believe this one is the tea dye that I used. So now let's go ahead and start putting all our other pieces together. So now this piece, because what we're going to do is we're going to have one layer here, and then we're going to have one layer on top of here. So now I'm going to give you the measurements. You can cut this out with your Silhouette if you want, or you can just go ahead and use your paper trimmer. So the measurement for these pieces are 4 inches by 2 5/8. If you're going to cut that on your Silhouette, that's 4 inches by 2.62, and the top layer measures the same thing, 4 inches by 2 5/8. Or you can make that 4 inches by 2.62 for your height on your Silhouette. So one layer will be here and one layer will be on top. Now, I did run these through my embossing folders. This one right here is the Mosaic, and it's a Cutterbug folder. It looks like this. And then the bottom one is called Wood Grain, and that's by Darice, and it looks like this. So I did do that for each one of those. But before we go ahead, actually we're going to go ahead and lay these down and tape them down, and then we'll add our ribbon because this will cover the top of our ribbon. So let's go ahead and we'll start with laying the top piece down first. And I think I'm just going to use a Tombow for this to get our piece on here. And this is just some of the Joann Fabric textured cardstock. So I'm going to line that up and just press that down, and then I'll add my next piece on there as well. And once again, I'm going to use the Tombow to get this on here. I find myself switching back between the two. It all depends on which one is closest to me. So let's see, I think I like this better. So we'll do this. And this is actually some Recollections cardstock, and when I ran it through the Cutterbug folder, it kind of gave it a raised and took some of the color off, and I kind of like that, the way it did that. So we'll add this one, and I'm going to overlap this one on top of the other one, and then I'm going to press down. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my ribbon. And maybe I should have added the ribbon first. Oh well, we'll just go ahead and do this. This is what you call designing on the fly. So I don't half the time know what I'm going to do until I start doing it. I sometimes try to plan them out, but they don't always work out that way. So now I'm just going to lay this across and cut this. And the reason why I said I should have probably laid this down first is because I wanted this to go up under there. So let's see if we can pull that up and slide that up under there. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a piece of this ribbon like so, and I'm going to move this for a second and move my ribbon out of the way, and I'm going to lift this up And I'm going to slide this up under here. So I would suggest that you do this first. And then of course we need to get some tape on there. So what I'm going to do is, I think in this case I'm going to use the ATG gun to get some tape across there. I still haven't gotten used to this new roll of HED tape that I put in my ATG gun. So I'm going to just lightly press that down, and you want to make sure you get this even when you're going across. And then I'm going to lift this side up, and I did cut more than what I needed, so I'm going to lift that up, and I'm going to slide the ribbon up under there, but I am going to take some of this off of here because we've got too much. So I'm just going to snip that, lift this up, and tuck that under. So there we have it. So in the future, if you're going to make this card, put your ribbon on first so that you can tuck this under there. Okay, so now let's move on. I'm going to put the ribbon aside, and we're going to bring up the rest of our pieces. So now here is our piece, Loads of Love, and that's going to go about right there. And then we're going to have our Happy Birthday, which we've used our print and cut feature for, and we're going to place that right there, and we're going to pop that up on some foam dots. And then we have our little truck. So our little truck will face here, and I'm going to pop that up, and then we'll start adding the hearts. Now what I've done for the hearts is I used my Spellbinder dies, the classic heart, and I used this one and this one. So it's the smallest one and then the next to the smallest one. And I've cut out several using my Vagabond, but if you ever Big Shot, you can use that. And I cut them out using felt. So what you're going to do is just go ahead and just start loading it up with the hearts, like so. And then basically that is our card. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start taping all this down, ink my edges, and then I'll come back with the finished card and the envelope. Okay everybody, so I am back with the finished card. So here it is. Now you can add as many hearts as you want. I cut out quite a few of the big ones and not that many of the small ones, so I just decided to just add just a couple of the big ones and then the smaller ones. And so this is what it looks like. And I did go ahead and I glued these down by using the glue gun, but you can use whatever you want. I've popped up my truck, and I was going to take and cut this out and put a piece of acetate back there, but I decided to leave it the way it was. I think I like that better. And then I went ahead and put a heart. I also popped up the Happy Birthday, this part of it anyway. I had both pieces popped up, but I didn't like the way that looked, so I went ahead and just popped up just this one. And I added one of the larger hearts right here. And then I also went ahead and put in my inside sentiment, and I stamped out some corners using some stamps that I had. And for my envelope, I just took a pre-made envelope and stamped out the cupcake and then my favorite Happy Birthday stamp. So that's it everybody. This is the card that birthday card that I've made for my father. Thanks for watching everybody. Bye.